Have you heard about the Aaron Goodwin saga? Aaron Goodwin, of course, is one of the key pillars of the TV show Ghost Adventures, alongside Zach Bagans, of course. Zach Bagans is like the guy, and then under him, you've got the rest of the crew, but Aaron Goodwin is by far a fan favourite, one of the most beloved characters. Not characters, I suppose it is a character if you, it depends how you look at the show, I suppose, right? If you look at it from a reality perspective, he's the favourite person. If you look at it as a comedy kind of entertainment show, he's a character. But he's one of the fan favourites regardless. Now, sadly, he got caught up in a bit of controversy. Not because of him, but because of his now ex-wife. After she attempted to hire a hitman to take his life. You can't make this stuff up. Usually I'd cover this stuff over on my other YouTube channel, Simply Strange, where I keep up to date with everything that's going on in the paranormal. But right now, it feels like this is way bigger, right? And I want to kind of talk about some things like this over on this channel as well, because this is where this channel started, in the paranormal. Now, this video is going to be a long one, because it goes into every nook, cranny, saga, episode to do with this Aaron Goodwin situation. Just give it the long run, right? Because you're going to be left by the end of this video, when you make it to the end, wondering how on earth this isn't a scripted show and this is actually real life. Believe me, it's nuts. Let that sink in for a second, ladies and gentlemen. His ex-wife tried to hire a hitman to take this man out. What world are we living on where this is okay? Obviously, it's not okay, but why does anyone even think of that? So this has come out from TMZ, right? So TMZ, of course, they're all over absolutely everything. Ghost Adventures, Aaron Goodwin, cops say wife tried to hiring a hitman to have him offed. What in the Jacqueline Nunez is this? We're going to have a little read through this, because when I saw this, I know I'm a bit late to the party. I'm trying to catch up with a lot of things that are going on. But when I saw this, I was just like, what? Like, this is crazy. But moving forward, the wife of Ghost Adventure star Aaron Goodwin got busted for a murder for hire plot. The cops say she tried to pay a hitman to knock off her husband. What? Victoria Goodwin was arrested last week and booked in on 2 charges: solicitation to commit murder and conspiracy to commit murder, after the police said that she hatched a plan to kill Aaron while he was filming his show with Zach Bagans. So this guy went out to work, right? Went to, do what he does best, be second in command to Zach Bagans and do as he's told. And then, before you know it, there's an assassin out to get you. Literally an assassin out to get you. Someone, a hired hitman, coming to get you. Jeez, man. According to the arrest report obtained by TMZ, cops say Victoria was messaging an inmate in Florida prison about getting her marriage to Aaron, getting her out of her marriage to Aaron, when she asked, "Am I a bad person because I chose to end his existence?" Have you ever heard of a divorce? Have you ever heard of, amicable splits? How is this a logical how do you go, do you know what? I'm not happy in my marriage, and I think divorce might be a bad idea. So what I'm going to do is I might hire a hitman. Yeah, that doesn't seem unhinged in the slightest. What is wrong with people? Why is that the first go? Like, what on earth? Who stops and thinks, you know what? Yeah. I think I might have my husband killed today. I think that's my way forwards. That's my alibi out of the relationship. What did she expect? What did she think was going to happen? That this was just going to go along, it was going to be fine, the guy was just going to take Aaron out and she was just going to live happily ever after. Police say Victoria provided info about Aaron's location and filming times in California, where he was filming Ghost Adventures. Obviously, that's Aaron on the right, in case anyone didn't know. We got Big Zach Boy right there, and then the other guys. I don't know who they are. I don't really watch Ghost Adventures anymore. Anyway, cops say Aaron's wife set aside almost $12,000 to pay the alleged hitman. As if it's not bad enough, right, that she's hired a hitman. The value that she put on his life was $11,500. $11,500. Like, That's all you value your husband at, right? Like, jeez, man. I'd be more insulted at the fee than someone trying to take me out. But obviously, I'm cracking jokes. It's a very sensitive subject, so please, like, you know, bear that in mind. I'm not trying to be insensitive, but oh man. And they say that the inmate, or I guess it was the hitman, she was communicating with, messaged a guy about the alleged plot. Quote, he's asleep right now in a hotel room. I need to know what's going on. Can I get an update? Was it done? This allegedly happened back in October, and Aaron is still very much alive. Though it's unclear what went down with the alleged hitman, but cops claim that there were specific messages about a $2,500 upfront dollar payment. Oh my god. When was this posted on Instagram? So this was posted, and it says, it finally happened, we got married. Right, so they got married. When did they get married, I wonder? Let me have a little look on his Instagram page and see when this took place. Oh, it's probably going to be quite an old post, I should imagine. Let's scroll down, have a little look through. Because I'm genuinely curious about how long this marriage had gone on for. Prior, is it here? 2 years ago, I got to marry my best friend. Right, so that was 30 weeks ago. Oh, why don't they give... I don't know why they don't just give a specific date that this was posted. But 9th of August. So... they've been married for almost, 2.5 years? Just get a divorce, man. Just get a divorce. Do what normal people do. Anyway, moving forwards. Police say they only caught wind of the alleged plot after corrections officers found seized the inmate's contraband phone in his Florida prison. For her part, police say Victoria denied wanting Aaron to be killed and says she was daydreaming or fantasizing about being with her husband. Cops say that she also told them that she didn't remember sending the messages and doesn't want her hubby killed. She's a psychopath. She is genuinely tapped in the head. There's something seriously wrong with this woman. Like, not only has she, like, done the plot, but she's been caught, like, red-handed. And her alibi is, I don't remember sending the message. You are unhinged, woman. Like, Aaron, run a fucking mile, my dude. Run a mile. When confronted about messages related to sending the guy money, police say Victoria claimed that she thought the money was for cell phones and mentioned that she and Aaron were going through marital problems. What the fuck? How much? Why are you sending an inmate in Florida that you don't know? Maybe she does know, but you know because of this job that you want done. Why are you sending them money for phones? Oh, this is so stupid. Like, how did what's it? I don't know what's crazier, the fact that she tried to do this or the fact that she's tried to blag her way out of it and done an incredibly poor job of it. I don't know what's worse. Aaron, who married Victoria in August of 2022, I wish I'd just read on, at the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland, tells TMZ he thought he was in a happy marriage and he's been blindsided and devastated at this turn of events. Zach tells us an emotional time for Aaron and he's trying to give him love and support. We're told by Victoria that she held on to the $100,000 bail, and it appears she's still currently in police custody. I should hope so too. This is bonkers. This is actually bonkers. And obviously, it's utterly horrific, right, that someone's tried to play this card and tried to take out their husband. But at the same time, I don't know what's worse. The fact that she's tried to do this, or the fact that she's then tried to blag her way out of this later on and has been like, I never meant to do that. Oh, no, that was just for cell phones. That was for this. That was for that. Love. Fuck off. Fuck off. That's crazy. What do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Of course, this is an utterly horrific time with for Aaron, bless him. But of all the people, like, Aaron's the most likable one. I would never want this to happen to anyone. Don't let that be taken out of context or spun any other way, right? But Aaron's just he seems like such a nice guy on camera, and I've seen some interviews of him behind the scenes. He just seems so down to earth. There have been some developments with the Aaron Goodwin wife trying to assassinate him or have him assassinated situation, right? I never thought those words would be coming out of my mouth, but then again, 2025 hasn't exactly been the year for my bingo card, as there's been a lot of shit go on. And We're just in the thick of it, and everyone knows. They know me where it snows and all the rest of it. But in case you don't know what I'm going on about, and you've been living under a rock for the past, however long, Aaron Goodwin has basically had his wife attempt to have him killed by a hitman, which is absolutely bonkers. So the wife of the Ghost Adventure star Aaron Goodwin got busted in a murder for hire plot, and cops say that she tried to pay a hitman to knock off her husband. Now, even worse to all of this is the fact that Aaron Goodwin was out working for Ghost Adventures, filming, when this was all going on. And basically, Victoria Goodwin, who is Aaron Goodwin's wife, got arrested last week and was booked with 2 charges: solicitation to commit murder and conspiracy to commit murder, after police said that she hatched a plan to kill Aaron while he was out filming the show Ghost Adventures. According to the arrest report, cops say that Victoria was messaging an inmate in Florida prison about getting her out of her marriage to Aaron when she asked, "Am I a bad person because I chose to end this existence, not divorce?" Again, those words baffle me. The fact that she even contemplated, am I a bad person, instead of being like, I'm a really shitty person for having my husband killed, instead of just going down the usual route of divorce. It's weird. Now, a lot of people in the comment section of my last video that kind of went over all of this. So if you want a bit more detail on what's happened so far, go and check out that video from a few days ago. They were like, maybe there's some kind of intertwined kind of insurance policy, maybe there'll be a huge cash payout, maybe whatever, maybe basically people were like, maybe there's a financial side to this where she benefits. Ultimately, she was always going to get found out eventually, even if it was a couple of years down the line. But she doesn't seem to be the sharpest tool in the shed based off of the text messages that she was sending, because she literally had this man outed, right, for murder. And, I don't know, man. She was, willing to pay the assassin or the hitman $11,500 to have him killed, with a $2,500 upfront fee. But there's a lot of new information that's come out with regards to Victoria and this man that was in Florida prison, who was not going to be the hitman himself. He was going to be the middleman who was going to sort out the hitman work on Victoria's behalf. And it's really, really weird. You hear about these parasocial relationships, right? Where people watch YouTubers, for example, and then get this weird relationship where they think that they're in some kind of relationship, even though the YouTuber themselves doesn't actually know this person. There's this weird parasocial relationship going on between Victoria and the inmate in Florida prison. So it's been confirmed through a report that apparently Victoria Goodwin and Grant Amato, who was the man in the Florida prison, were quote-unquote lovers who started talking years ago after she saw him on a true crime documentary. This case gets sicker and sicker as the details are slowly released. I mean, this says everything that you need to know about Victoria Goodwin. She clearly was having an emotional affair because she was lovers with this fucking psychopath who was in prison. And she decided that instead of being married to Aaron and, just living a cushy, comfortable, happy life, she wanted to be with this guy on a true crime documentary. Yeah. Again, not the sharpest tool in the shed. Absolute freak show. But it's also been confirmed by multiple reports that, unsurprisingly, Ghost Adventure star Aaron Goodwin has filed for divorce from his wife, Victoria, after she allegedly tried to pay a hitman to kill her husband in a chilling murder-for-hire plot. The TV star 48 on Wednesday filed a complaint for divorce in Clark County, Nevada, from Victoria, asking for neither party to be granted alimony. And Goodwin has asked the court to award him a reasonable cost, expenses and attorney's fees incurred herein, adding the request to his separate assets and debts to be confirmed. Yeah. So, I mean, obviously they were never going to stay together because, he would have just been as mental as she was if he decided that sticking with the woman who tried to have him offed was a sensible or even reasonable idea. But good on Aaron. Find that strength, mate. Find that strength to leave her. I mean, if my missus tried to have me killed as well, I'd probably go down the same route. But interestingly, Victoria Goodwin actually posted this photo on Instagram of her cuddling with her husband, Aaron, 1 week before she was charged with the murder-for-hire plot. Now, apparently, this went on back in October. So the alleged,
assassin for hire plot, or hitman for hire, took place back in October of last year. So, you know what, 6 months ago now? Which means that Aaron may have been completely in the dark until the text messages were found on a seized mobile phone from the inmate in Florida prison. Which is equally as fucked up. Like, that's equally as messed up. Because, the murder plot failed. And Victoria Goodwin, instead of leaving him when she was blatantly unhappy enough to hire a friggin' hitman on him, has decided that, do you know what? I'm just going to stay with him. Cuddle up to him. Be happy with him. Look at, they're just cushy, chilling. That's clearly Aaron's arm, unless Victoria's got really hairy arms on her leg. He was blatantly none the wiser. Which is so messed up, man. So messed up. On so many levels. I can't even begin to tell you how fucked that is. Jeez. Anyway, like I say, there's a TMZ report all about it. The Ghost Adventure star filed it on Wednesday, unsurprisingly. In light of what's gone on, there's really no mystery about the divorce filing, though it does say that Aaron and his estranged wife Victoria's views, tastes, likes and dislikes have become incompatible. I should imagine so, in the extent that it's become impossible for them to live together as husband and wife. I mean, that's Grant Amato, by the way, the man that was doing the middleman work for Victoria, and apparently she's in love with. I mean, what the fuck is this, man? This is so weird. But even crazier to this is Victoria has denied she ever really wanted her husband killed, claiming that she thought the money was for cell phones. Amato is currently serving time in prison for killing his mother, father, and brother. This is so weird. This is so, the more I read about this case, the more I listen to the reports coming out, the more unhinged it becomes. Victoria, unhinged. Grant Amato killed his mum, dad, and brother. Heartless. And she's got this weird parasocial relationship with him, where she's in love with him or whatever. And then she tried to fob it off as, I was just sending him money for mobile phones. You're not even allowed mobile phones in prison. That's shit. There's literal contraband. That was what got you in this issue in the first place. Are you stupid? I mean, obviously, because you thought you could get away with this and still think you can. Man, Aaron literally and metaphorically dodged a bullet with this one. I don't know. I can't even. And I thought, well, she's behind bars. There can't be anything else to really come out about this story. We know what there is to know. Was I wrong? My lord, I was incredibly wrong. There is so much more information that is just pouring out every single day with regards to this story, including text messages that seem to show that Victoria Goodwin and Grant Amato were in some kind of weird relationship. So clearly there was an emotional affair, or actual affair. Not actual, because there's nothing physical, because Grant Amato was in prison, but Grant Amato, obviously the guy that was organising the hit on behalf of Victoria Goodwin, who was featured on a true crime documentary where Victoria Goodwin initially saw him, fell in love with him apparently, started texting him, right? And that's obviously, this is how everything's come out. But the apparent texts revealed between these two are quite intimate, quite intense. This whole situation's so crazy that I can't even get my friggin' words out. So let's take a little look at what the latest stuff is to come out of E! News with regards to the text. But you're not going to believe what's about to happen, because Victoria Goodwin is the biggest narcissist ever after trying to pull this stunt. Take a listen to this.
Ghost Adventure star Aaron Goodwin's wife and a convicted murderer are revealed. According to an arrest report from the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department obtained by E! News, authorities say Victoria Goodwin, wife of Aaron Goodwin, who stars on the Paranormal Investigation series, began exchanging romantic text messages with convicted murderer Grant Amato. The text exchanges began in May 2024 after Victoria saw Grant in the Paramount Plus docuseries Control-Alt-Desire, according to the filing. The series chronicled Grant's plot to steal $200,000 from his family before murdering his mother, father, and brother in January 2019.
Yeah, he's a real role model. is Grant Amato. He's a real role model, someone to really look up to and to really fall in love with. What the fuck?
In the messages, which police say ended in October 2024, Victoria and Grant discussed, quote, how
They ended in October 2024 because Victoria Goodwin was then arrested.
much they are in love, per the filing. She also told the inmate that her husband, FH, would not accept divorce. Victoria, who was arrested March 6th, has pled not guilty in the case, according to Entertainment Tonight. In addition to the romantic subject matter, she had also been messaging the convicted killer about the murder plan. According to the docs, she texted Grant, "Am I a bad person? Because I chose to end his existence, not divorce." When confronted about the text messages by investigators, Victoria denied wanting her husband to be killed, per the docs, adding that she did not remember sending the messages in question. Investigators also said she described her messages about wanting to be with Grant as fantasy or daydreams. E! News has reached out to any legal representation for Victoria for comment, but has not heard back. Amato was found guilty in August 2019 on 3 counts of first-degree murder for killing his relatives and given a sentence of life in prison for each count. He has not been charged in the alleged murder-for-hire plot. 6 days after his wife's arrest, Aaron, who wed Victoria in 2022, filed for divorce, arguing that their views, tastes, likes, and dislikes had become incompatible, according to court documents obtained by People. The filing also noted there is no possibility of reconciliation between husband and wife.
I'm not surprised in the slightest. Obviously, you know, that's absolutely crazy. But it has been revealed in even more crazy document. You thought that was bad, right? You thought that was insane. Well, imagine, right, being caught out in 4K through text messages for doing this, right? Imagine getting caught and then trying to sue, right, Aaron Goodwin for 10 grand for false imprisonment and claims of assault. That's crazy, right? That's crazy. Like, as if this whole situation wasn't bad enough and this woman didn't look batshit crazy enough. Well, yeah, here we go. Let's have a little read of this document. So it states, Ghost Adventure star Aaron Goodwin has amended his court divorce filing against estranged wife Victoria Goodwin, accusing her of negligence, false imprisonment. Oh, I got this wrong. Sorry. So it's actually Aaron Goodwin that's filed for the lawsuit. My bad. Wrong way round. I actually wouldn't be surprised if Victoria Goodwin tried to counter-sue. But false imprisonment and more bombshell claims. In the days after she was arrested for allegedly hiring a hitman to kill him and plotting for his death to help the convicted murderer serving a life sentence for massacring his family. In Aaron's petition, filed on Wednesday, March 19th, and obtained exclusively by US Weekly, the TV star 48 is seeking punitive and exemplary damages totaling more than 10 grand after Victoria, 32, was allegedly negligent in her marital actions. I wonder what that could mean. Victoria's conduct was extremely outrageous, with either the intention of reckless disregard for causing emotional distress to Aaron, the reality TV star's court filing reads. He suffered severe or extreme emotional distress as the actual or proximate result of her conduct. I'm not surprised. The guy had a fucking hitman hired on him. Or was about to. Like, no one's going to be leaving that unscathed. Without detailing specifics, Aaron also accused Victoria of assault and false imprisonment and claimed that she made him feel apprehension or harmful or abusive behaviour. According to Aaron, Victoria has repeatedly intended to confine him within boundaries that she set. Victoria acts directly or resulted in such a confinement, the filing further claims. Aaron was conscious for the confinement and was harmed by it. Aaron also requested that the court grant the divorce because Victoria repeatedly committed a concert of actions, which is defined in the motion as acting with another or commit a tort while acting in concert or pursuant to a common design. So I'm not being funny, right? Surely the fact that these text messages, like, almost like, you know, love affair style text messages have been caught in 4K. Surely that's enough for the courts to be like, yeah, you can have your divorce. And the fact that she hired a fucking hitman to kill him. What? What? the fact that this guy's having to, like, you know, amend his stuff to, like, try and get some kind of, like, you know, divorce plea is mental. I don't know. Aaron initially filed for divorce on March 12th, requesting to maintain his separate property and have their community assets divided equally. 6 days earlier, go away advert. Victoria was arrested for charges of soliciting to commit murder and conspiring to commit murder and held on a $100,000 bail. According to the police records obtained by US, Victoria has been communicating with the infamous convicted killer Grant Amato, who's serving life sentences. Obviously, we all know about that. Victoria and Grant also exchanged messages discussing how much they are in love, according to the records. Victoria, who married Aaron in 2020, allegedly admitted that she and her then husband were struggling with their marital issues via police interrogation. At the time, Victoria claimed that the funds she transferred to the inmates were meant to be used for cell phones. I find this absolutely mind-boggling. The Aaron Goodwin situation has just got even crazier, as he has finally broken his silence after the murder-for-hire plot that was made against him by none other than his own wife. Now, this is an entire story that I've gone a lot of depth on a few other videos, so if you want to get up to speed with everything that's gone on so far, there's about 3 other videos that kind of gives you an exact timeline and very detailed specifics on what's gone on, but we're going to talk about the situation, assuming that you know what's gone on up to this point. So, obviously, to give you a brief recap though, Aaron's wife, or soon-to-be ex-wife, as he's now filed for divorce, put out a hire for murder plot against him using a man called Grant Amato, who she saw on a true crime documentary, who's in LA in prison. He was the go-between between her, who she paid him, to hire someone on her behalf to take out Aaron on her behalf. She didn't want to go down the route of divorce. Based off of the information that I've seen and the research that I've done, there was a prenup between these two, which basically meant that if these guys divorce or he's taken out, she doesn't get anything, right? So there's no financial gain in this, from what I've gathered, for her. So the motive is still incredibly unclear, but I really don't know. But Grant Amato, obviously on the screen right here, he's in prison right now. She saw him on a documentary and they are believed to be lovers, okay? There's been texts and go-betweens and all the rest of it. Aaron Goodwin's wife has claimed that she didn't try and do this and that it wasn't a thing, even though the texts literally prove that it was. And Aaron Goodwin, up until this point, has been really quiet on the whole situation. Obviously, there's a new season of Ghost Adventures coming out, season 29. So, you know, maybe he's been focused on that, but he has finally spoken out with regards to this story. So, Ghost Adventure star Aaron Goodwin breaks silence following his arrest. Aaron Goodwin takes to Instagram after his wife Victoria Goodwin was accused of conspiring to have him killed. Ghost Adventure star Aaron Goodwin obviously made his public statement over the weekend following his wife's arrest on allegations that she plotted to have him assassinated. Goodwin, 48, posted a smiley face emoji to his Instagram on Saturday with a statement thanking his followers for their support. Quote, "Thank you everyone for all the love and support through this emotionally trying time. It has really helped me a lot and I appreciate you all," he said. This was the photo that was uploaded, just the hug emoji with the flappy arms. And then obviously we can see the caption down the bottom right here. But moving on, Victoria Goodwin, 32, was actually arrested on March 6th, obviously for the allegations of conspiring to have her husband assassinated, according to the police reports that have been taken in. Investigators found that the reality star's now estranged wife has been communicating with Florida inmate Grant Amato via text messages and Facebook messages. The exchanges revealed that the pair were romantically involved and they were plotting to pay to have Aaron Goodwin killed, the police report says. The report reveals that Goodwin's messages to Amato. In a series of messages, she asks, like, "How did I get to this point? And am I a bad person?" In response, Amato asks why she thinks that, and she replies, "Because I chose to have to end his existence, not divorce," according to the report. The pair allegedly planned to set aside $11,500 to hire a third person to complete the job. The police report says that they have also discussed Aaron Goodwin's location and the details of his car. Amato contacted the alleged hitman on October 3rd and asked whether the murder had been completed, according to the report. Quote, I need to know what's going on, Amato wrote. Can I get an update? Was it done? Victoria Goodwin's next court appearance is scheduled for Tuesday in Clark County, Nevada. So that's actually today. And the bail was set for $100,000 according to the jail records. She has denied the allegations, police say. Aaron Goodwin filed for divorce, unsurprisingly, from Victoria Goodwin with the Clark County Court on Wednesday, and representatives for Aaron Goodwin did not immediately respond to an NBC News request for comment. Since 2008, Goodwin, of course, has starred in Ghost Adventures. The hit reality show follows him and others investigate paranormal activity. It aired for 19 seasons on the Travel Channel. We know all the story about Ghost Adventures. In the weeks before Victoria Goodwin's arrest, the couple shared loving photos of each other on social media. Victoria Goodwin posted a selfie of her husband on Instagram on the 14th of Feb. The caption, mini golf with my Valentine, alongside the heart emoji. Aaron Goodwin commented on the post, I love you even though you crushed me at mini golf. Aaron Goodwin commented on the post, I love you even though oh yeah, so I've just read that. She also shared a photo on Instagram, the pair kissing on January 22nd, happy anniversary, me Carino. I love celebrating our first dates. The caption read, he replied, I'm so blessed we met, I love you. That's actually incredibly sad when you think about it, because by this point Aaron wasn't even aware that the murder for hire plot was even a thing. So she put the hit out back in October of last year, right? So what's that, about 6 months ago now? 5 or 6 months ago. By this point, 3 or 4 months had passed, and she's posting like they're lovers. Like she dotes upon him and she absolutely adores him with all her being. But she's tried to have him killed. How messed up in the head is that? And how bad do I feel right now for Aaron Goodwin for, you know, being lulled into this false sense of security, thinking that this woman absolutely adores him, absolutely dotes upon him, absolutely loves his being, when she tried to have him killed. That is so messed up on so many levels. I can't even begin to fathom. Imagine being Aaron Goodwin right now. Like, the guy seems proper down to earth, right? Imagine being him right now, just looking back on those Instagram posts, thinking, what on earth? Like, you literally tried to have me killed months before you're writing I love you on my Valentine and first dates and all the rest of it. Absolutely cooked. The whole situation is batshit crazy. Now, of course, today at the time of recording, Victoria Goodwin is set to go to court for her one of her first trials with regards to this case. So the details of that will be released incredibly soon, hopefully, so we can get some updates on what's going to be happening. There's no doubt that she's involved within this. There's no doubt she's going to be facing time for this. Like, if she doesn't, then the system is absolutely broken. But yeah, here's a little clip to kind of get you as well in the loop with what's going on.
Murder for hire case involving Ghost Adventure star Aaron Goodwin. He's now breaking his silence after his estranged wife allegedly tried to hire a hitman to kill him.
This is a bad topic for me.
Thank you, everyone, for all the love and support through this emotionally trying time. That's the 48-year-old speaking out after filing for divorce from his wife of nearly 5 years, Victoria. She's in jail, and tomorrow she's expected to appear in a Las Vegas courthouse on charges of conspiring and soliciting to commit murder. Victoria denies wanting Aaron killed, but cops say last fall she offered to pay around $11,000 to this convicted triple murderer to arrange for the alleged hit.
We just reviewed some absolutely incredible evidence.
Good luck, hold your breath, and just see what happens.
Meanwhile, former Impractical Joker star Joe Gatto.
That's a whole nother story. We're not going to get into that one. That's not the channel for that. But if you do want to know about that, go over to the Simply Crime YouTube channel, because, you know, I'm covering it over there. Anyway, that was a shameless plug out of the way. But yeah, the whole situation's cooked. You know, I don't know how she's going to try and wangle herself out of this one. She's going to give it a good go. Hopefully she doesn't. It's all alleged right now, but, you know, the texts are there. We know what's gone on. It's messed up. The Ghost Adventure star Aaron Goodwin situation has just gone to court for its first ever trial, and it was unhinged, to say the very least, with the wife of the Ghost Adventures star, Victoria Goodwin, who is basically being accused of trying to attempt to hire a hitman to take out her husband instead of just going down the normal route of divorce, basically smirking after they mentioned the plot to hire. Which, I don't know if about you, but to me, that's deeply incriminating. This bitch needs to be locked up forever. It's giving Jacqueline Nunes vibes, and I'm not here for it. But let's talk about the situation thus far. I've made countless videos kind of about what's gone on so far. Yesterday's video was an entire compilation of all the videos to kind of give you a really strict timeline of everything that's gone on. But yeah, the developments are madness. So, the Las Vegas judge ordered the wife of the hiring the hitman to kill her Ghost Adventures host husband, Aaron Goodwin, to, quote, stay out of trouble and to avoid the TV star in court appearance. Victoria Goodwin appeared in front of a judge, her hands shackled and a chain around her waist, and wearing a dark blue, wearing jail garb. No idea. For preliminary hearing in Las Vegas Justice Township Court on Tuesday. At the point of the brief hearing, Victoria, 32, smirked as she looked back at the courtroom. Throughout the rest of the appearance, she stayed quiet and looked concerned as she surveyed the room. She was arrested on March 6th at Clark County on charges of soliciting and conspiring to murder a 48-year-old paranormal investigator. The judge on Tuesday granted Victoria's motion to delay her preliminary hearing, and her bail remains at $100,000, and she is expected back in court on April 8th. There she is, and that's the smirk that they caught Victoria doing when she looked back through the court. That's a photo of them two together from their social medias. As part of her bail condition, Victoria was ordered not to contact her estranged husband, according to her court documents obtained by thedailymail.com. As of Tuesday afternoon, Victoria remains at Clark County Detention Center, according to jail records. Victoria, whose dirty blonde hair was swept back in a messy ponytail, looked solemn during the proceedings, but flashed a quick smile at her attorney who sat behind her before the hearing. Victoria's murder-for-hire scheme was foiled by authorities on investigators discovered what she was communicating with Florida convict Grant Amato in March 2024. I've got to say that right because people were commenting how I made it sound like Grand Tomato. Grand Tomato. That's how I said it last time, and people were like, you're saying Grand Tomato. What are you saying? Grant Amato. There you go. Grant's cell phone was seized by corrections officers in prison, which is when police discovered Victoria's text messages where she allegedly said that she could pay Grant's potential hitman $11,515 to murder Aaron with a $2,500 upfront payment. She said, quote, am I a bad person because I chose to end his existence, not divorce? She asked in one text. In another text, Victoria allegedly wrote, he's asleep right now in a hotel room. I need to know what's going on. Can I get an update? Was it done? This is obviously her looking back to her attorney, and this was her appearing in court. This is them on a red carpet. What a fall from grace. Amato was convicted in 2019 of a triple murder of his parents, brother, in a desperate dispute over $200,000 in missing money, and he spent on a webcam performer. David Brown, Victoria's defense attorney, declined to comment on the case when reached on Tuesday by thedailymail.com. Cameras were rolling as Aaron learned his estranged wife had tried to hire a hitman to kill him. Aaron filed for divorce on March 13th and requested to maintain his property and have their community assets divided equally. He amended in the filing last week, seeking over $10,000 in damages and accused her of negligence and false imprisonment. Victoria's conduct was extremely outrageous, with either the intention of or reckless disregard for causing emotional distress to Aaron, the court filing read. He suffered from severe and extreme emotional distress, an actual approximate result of her conduct. Aaron broke his silence over the weekend when he thanked his 1.3 million social media followers. Thank you everyone for all the love and support through this emotionally trying time, he wrote. It has really helped a lot and I appreciate you all. Obviously, this is madness. She needs to be locked away for the longest amount of time possible because the entire situation is just unhinged. Imagine looking back to your attorney and smirking whilst being accused of hiring a hitman or attempting to hire a hitman to kill your husband. Like, that is absolutely fucked. Not even, like, there's no two ways around it. Here's a little video to kind of give you a brief rundown of everything as well.
The wife of Aaron Goodwin, you know, the guy who's been chasing ghosts on TV for years, recently publicly showed up in a Las Vegas courtroom for the first time since her arrest on March 6th. This wasn't just any hearing. It's tied to a jaw-dropping murder-for-hire case. She's accused of plotting something sinister, and the trial's getting closer every day. She was arrested on March 6, 2025, after police uncovered evidence suggesting she tried to hire someone to take out her ex-husband. Court docs say she allegedly paid thousands of dollars to make it happen. The prosecution's bringing heat, claiming they've got solid proof, like messages and money trails. Meanwhile, her defense team's fighting back, saying it's all a big misunderstanding. She appeared in court looking calm, dressed in everyday clothes, while lawyers hashed out schedules. No cameras were allowed inside, but the buzz outside was electric. People are glued to this case, wondering how it'll play out for the woman married to a guy who's spent years hunting the supernatural. What do you think? Guilty or not? Drop your thoughts in.
I mean, she's guilty. No, there's no two ways about it. She literally has attempted to hire a hitman to take someone out. Bear in mind, this Grand Tomato, right? This Grand Tomato has killed his family in a triple homicide, right? And they were apparently lovers after she saw him on a true crime documentary. To me, that tells me that someone is deeply unhinged if they have got this like grandeur surrounding a mass murderer. It is mass murder because he killed multiple people, right? Imagine putting that kind of person on a pedestal and like trying to fall in love with that person. When I watch true crime documentaries, I love them, right? Netflix are great for them. Well, I love them. I'm like, that person's seriously unhinged. I would never want to be with someone like that. But she's like, that's my cup of tea right there. That's my kind of guy. Killed 3 people? Fantastic. The more the merrier. Nah, unhinged stuff. Unhinged behaviour. Obviously, she's now allowed. No, I don't think she's allowed out. She may be allowed out, but she's just not allowed to go anywhere near Aaron Goodwin. If I was Aaron, I'd be sleeping with one eye open all the time. Like, this is crazy. Hopefully, her like stuff's being surveyed 24/7 because it has to be. If it's not, then the system is failing Aaron.
Imagine being happily married, or so you think, only to find out that your spouse is plotting your murder. That's exactly the nightmare that Aaron Goodwin from Ghost Adventures found himself in and is living through right now. His wife, Victoria Goodwin, has been arrested for allegedly trying to hire a hitman to have him killed. And now she's facing some serious legal consequences. But what exactly does this really mean? What charges could she potentially face? And also, what about the supposed hitman that was hired to take Aaron's life? In today's video, we're going to be breaking everything down, talking about what's gone on so far, and also the serious legal ramifications that Victoria Goodwin faces now moving forwards. So let's start with what's gone on. This story was broke by TMZ in an exclusive with Aaron Goodwin, but he's best known obviously for his part on Ghost Adventures, being second in command to only Zach Baggins. He's found himself a bit of a cult-like following, becoming one of the most beloved presenters on the entire show. But he found himself at the center of a real-life horror story recently when authorities uncovered an alleged murder-for-hire plot against him, and the mastermind was none other than his current wife. So here's what we know so far. Victoria has allegedly been communicating with Grant Amato, a convicted murderer currently serving a life sentence in Florida. Through a series of messages, she supposedly provided details about Aaron's filming locations, schedules, and even offered money to have him killed. Reports suggest that the amount offered was $11,515, and that was set aside for the plan with an initial upfront payment of $2,500. Now, thankfully, the plot fell through when prison officials confiscated Amato's phone and found the deeply disturbing messages. Victoria was arrested on March 6th of 2025 in Nevada and is now being held at Clark County Detention Center with a $100,000 bail being hung over her head. But now the question is, what happens next? So right now, Victoria Goodwin is facing 2 major charges. Number 1, a solicitation to commit murder, and number 2, a conspiracy to commit murder, both equally as horrendous as the other. So let's break these down. A solicitation to commit murder. This charge applies when someone tries to persuade or pay another person to commit murder on their behalf. Even if the crime was never carried out, just making the request is enough to warrant legal consequences. And a conspiracy to commit murder. This means that 2 or more people have planned a murder together and took steps to make this happen. Victoria allegedly sent the messages, provided details, and offered money, all of which count as active participation within the conspiracy, making her liable. Now, let's talk about the possible punishment that Victoria could face. If convicted, Victoria could face a maximum sentence of life in prison. In some states, for murder for hire cases qualify for the death penalty, but Nevada does not impose the death penalty for conspiracy alone. Still, she's looking at decades behind bars if found guilty. But let's not forget about the other half of this crime, Grant Amato. The convicted murderer Victoria allegedly conspired with. Even though Amato is already serving life in prison, this isn't just going to be swept under the rug. Since he was actively participating in the conversation about arranging a murder, he could be charged with conspiracy as well. And while he may already have a life sentence, these new charges could mean additional time added to his current sentence, stricter prison conditions, and also limited parole opportunities if they existed at all. Essentially, even from behind bars, Amato could be facing even more significant legal trouble. So you're probably wondering what's going to happen next in court. Well, Victoria Goodwin's next court appearance is scheduled for March 25th of 2025, and this will determine whether the case goes to trial, if a plea deal is reached, or if she continues to fight the charges. Here's what could happen in a court of law. If she pleads guilty, she might negotiate a plea deal for a reduced sentence in exchange for admitting her involvement. Number 2, if she pleads not guilty, the case goes to trial, where the prosecution will present the text messages, financial transactions, and testimony from law enforcement. And number 3, if convicted by a jury, she could receive a sentence of up to 20 years to life in prison. Now, this case is already highly publicized, and prosecutors may push for the maximum sentence to make an example out of her. Meanwhile, Aaron Goodwin is left processing this betrayal while preparing to testify against his own wife. What a position to be in. But could Victoria avoid prison full stop? Now, there is a chance that Victoria Goodwin avoids prison completely. It is possible, but I must say highly unlikely. Her defense team might argue she never actually went through with the crime. She was coerced or manipulated by Amato, and the messages were misinterpreted. I'm not sure. If you see the messages, I'm not sure how that could be misinterpreted. But in a murder for hire case, the law doesn't wait for the act to be committed. The intent alone is enough to charge. Given the mountain of evidence, it's going to be an uphill battle for her defense team, and considering she is stating that the money was only sent so Amato could get some brand new phones, which is probably the worst alibi I've ever heard, it looks like she's not going to win this case, and she's probably going to be facing 20 to life in prison. The Aaron Goodwin situation has just taken a significant twist. Now, this is a brand new update at the time of recording. It has literally just been announced that prosecutors in Nevada have agreed to drop one of the 2 charges against the estranged wife of Ghost Adventure star Aaron Goodwin, who was accused of conspiring to hire a hitman to off her husband. Now, we're going to talk about this in depth. In case you don't know, I've kind of really covered this in depth already in other videos, but just as a loose kind of recap, Aaron Goodwin, star of Ghost Adventures, obviously like the 2IC to Zach Bagans and Ghost Adventures, has basically been involved with a murder to kill plot. Or a murder for hire plot. Now, this comes from Grant Amato. Many people accuse me in the comments of saying Grant Amato, and yeah, it does sound like that, but it's Grant Amato. Now, Victoria Goodwin, who is Aaron Goodwin's estranged wife now, has basically seen Grant Amato on a documentary about a true crime, and basically fell in love with him instantly. Now, there's been many texts come out to state that, there was very flirty texts, and it seems to be a bit of an emotional affair going on. Now, you're probably wondering, how does this even become a thing? Well, this got found out because in prison,
after, you know, obviously Grant Amato's in there because he murdered his family, his mum, his dad, and his brother. His phone got, like, found out and got, like, seized as contraband. They went through the text messages, found these murder-to-hire plots from back in October of last year, and then that's what completely blew this case out of the water. What's even crazier to this is the fact that, like, 2 days prior to this even coming out, so bear in mind, the timeline goes back in October, behind the scenes on the hush-hush, this scheme was going on. Fast forward to February or March, around March time this got found out. Aaron had no idea that this had happened until, you know, the news outlets basically came out with this, and that's how he found out, apparently. And then, but there's photos of them together, cuddling, kissing, her saying that, you know, happy anniversary and Valentine's and being all smoochy and lovey with him, even though about 3 months prior, she tried to have him killed. She literally tried to have him assassinated. And, you know, she's there like how sociopathic is this? Anyway, that's the timeline of events, kind of, you know, and you're probably wondering, well, how much was she offering? It was about $12,000. Crazy scenes. Anyway, moving forward. Let's fast forward to today. That's a little brief catch-up for you. So yeah, prosecutors in Nevada have basically agreed to drop one of the two charges. So prosecutors have agreed to drop the solicitation to commit murder charge. Attorneys say that the court in the case will move to a district court where she will plead to one count of conspiracy to commit murder. Victoria is due back in court on April 10th, which at my recording is tomorrow. So we're going to take a look into the depths of this, why that was dropped, why this is the case. It shouldn't be the case, you know, she needs to have the book thrown at her, in my honest opinion. Like, you can't, you know, solicitate a potential murder and then just get away with it. Especially after trying to keep it under wraps. It's so crooked. Anyway, so prosecutors in Nevada have agreed to drop one of the two charges of the estranged wife of Ghost Adventure star. All the rest of it, we know about this. Victoria Goodwin has been arrested in March on charges of solicitation to commit murder, conspiracy to murder, after authorities said that she communicated with a Florida inmate last year, Grant Amato obviously, and offered to pay him more than $11,500 in the alleged murder for hire plot. On Tuesday, prosecutors agreed to drop the solicitation to commit murder charge. Attorneys said that the case will move to district court, where she will plead and all the rest of it. Court documents identified that the inmate as Grant Amato, whose inmate ID number was confirmed with the Florida Department of Corrections records. Amato is obviously serving life sentence for the murders of his parents and brother. Amato murdered his family after an argument over his obsession with a webcam model, which had caused turmoil for the family for months, as you can probably imagine. Authorities unraveled the murder for hire plot, all the rest of it, we know about this. He was actually, and what's crazier is he was actually out filming Ghost Adventures at the time, and there's texts talking about how they were, you know, going to take care of everything. So you're probably wondering, well, why are they taking one away? Well, the answer to that isn't very straightforward. You know, it's a very convoluted system that that has to go through, based off of like the very, you know, loose research that I could find. Basically, she doesn't qualify for 2 counts of you know, solicited murder. Or attempted murder at least, because the plan never actually came to fruition. So from what I've gathered, if the hitman had attempted to actually take Aaron's life at the time, and he was like close to being successful, think of like the Donald Trump assassination attempt, for example, that would have granted her like an attempt murder potential, like, you know, in the plot. But this is just solicited because it's like, you know, this was like a planned out, ready to be paid for kind of thing. She's still going down for a very long time, don't get it twisted. She's there's no way she's like cooking her way out of this one. And also, let's not forget that Aaron Goodwin is basically cutting all ties. He's like filed for divorce. He's as you can imagine, slapped a $10,000 basically like, not fine, but you know, lawsuit against her for, like, you know, emotional distress, reputational damages, all the rest of it. I think he's just basically taking her to the cleaners for everything that she's got, in the hopes that, you know, he can basically cut and run. It is kind of sad though, because imagine being married to this woman. He got married in 2020, I believe. I think they got married in 2020. Imagine this woman then, like, finding out after she's been acting all coy with you for the past few months, that in that time she was actually attempting to get you killed instead of just going down a route of divorce. Apparently there's marital problems, but that doesn't constitute fucking assassinations. Like, what in the Jacqueline Nunes is this shit? Like, what is this, you know? Bizarre scenes going on over in America. Now, like it says there, she is due back in court tomorrow at the time of recording this video, so we will probably find out a little bit more. This is still in the preliminary phase, so, you know, we'll have to wait a little bit just to kind of find out what the gig is and what, you know, she'll be properly faced with. But as of right now, one of the counts has been thrown out of court, but, you know, it doesn't really matter all that much, because, you know, she's still gonna face pretty much the maximum sentence. Yeah, so there we go. Crazy scenes over in America, crazy scenes for Ghost Adventures, obviously absolutely insane scenes for Aaron Goodwin. But what do you make of this? Should that have been thrown out? Should they have just lodged everything that they possibly could against her in the hopes that they can just get her locked away for as long as possible? I mean, she's clearly unhinged. Even based off of her defense, where, you know, she was like stating that she never actually tried to do it, even though the text messages blatantly proved that she did, is kind of bizarre. But I've got to say, I'm gobsmacked. I did not expect for Victoria Goodwin to step into court, especially after she's been trying to weasel her way out of this entire Aaron Goodwin situation with hiring a hitman to try and take him out back in October of last year, and then weirdly posting images up until her arrest, which happened back in March, of them two lovey-dovey and all together, right? Now, obviously, when this whole thing came out, Victoria Goodwin said that she had no idea what those texts were for. The money that was being sent to Grant Amato, who is the guy in prison who was organising the hits for Victoria Goodwin, who was also the same guy who committed a triple homicide on his own family and is now spending life in prison, right? Who she saw on a true crime documentary and fell in love with and had basically an emotional affair with from prison. She sent him $11,500 to kill Aaron Goodwin with a $2,500 upfront payment, right? She claimed when she was arrested that those funds were for Grant to buy brand new phones, which is a bit weird because he's in prison. 12 grand as well. I know, like, this tariff thing with America is like spiking all over the globe, but 12 grand for a brand new iPhone is absolutely fucking ridiculous. Now, the whole thing, I thought she's not going to plead guilty to it. She'll plead not guilty and she'll dig her heels in, and this is going to drag out for ages. But it has just come out that on April 15th, which was when Victoria Goodwin was, you know, appearing in court next, has actually pleaded guilty to plotting to kill Aaron Goodwin, which is actually insane. So Ghost Adventure star Aaron Goodwin's wife won't be haunting him in a court of law, at least, as she struck a plea deal to avoid a lengthy murder for hire trial and shorten her sentence. Obviously, this is the kind of way that it usually goes in a court of law. If someone digs their heels in and says not guilty, then 9 times out of 10 it becomes a really lengthy court process. 9 times out of 10 as well, you get a more lengthy sentence if it then comes out that you have actually in fact done it. The proof was really stacking up against her and there was really no way of her getting out of it. So her lawyer was probably like, look, take the plea deal, just admit to it, just say, yeah, I did that. Because I think the idea of you know, admitting to it or pleading guilty straight off the bat is, in a court of law, that is seen to be sort of like you feel guilty about it and you feel remorseful about what's happened enough to say, yes, I hold my hands up and I did that. And then a court of law will take that into consideration when they do your deal, right? Which is kind of crazy that, you know, you get to basically bargain with your sentence as long as you don't draw it out. But that's crazy. So, Victoria Goodwin's filed docs obtained by TMZ informing the judge of Clark County, Nevada, she intended to plead guilty to one of the 2 counts that she was facing for allegedly plotting to kill her famous husband. According to the documents, Goodwin says that she's copping to conspiracy to commit murder, and in exchange, prosecutors will drop the charge of solicitation to commit murder. Additionally, prosecutors have agreed that to make no recommendations to the judge on Goodwin's sentence. TMZ broke the story. Goodwin was busted last month after cops say that they caught her messaging Florida inmate Grant Amato about killing Aaron. In one message, she said, "Am I a bad person because I chose to end his existence, not divorce?" I think the fact that you're even questioning that goes to show that maybe this is not a very good decision. Now, what's even crazier to this is that Aaron was actually out shooting Ghost Adventures at the time that the hit was supposed to take place in a hotel, which is crazy. So she also provided details of where Aaron would be filming Ghost Adventures episode with Zach Baggins in California. Nevada statute calls for her to go from anywhere from 2 to 10 years in prison, and a judge will determine her exact sentence. She could also be fined up to $5,000. Now, this is on top of the $10,000 that Aaron Goodwin has asked for in his divorce settlement. Now, many people are like, oh, maybe she was trying to take him out for the money, for the inheritance. Apparently, there's a prenup, which meant that Victoria, because a lot of this stuff and Aaron's success came before their marriage, the prenup basically meant that, you know, Victoria wouldn't get anything if they divorced. Assumedly, she probably would if he died, and although, unless he had a will that said otherwise, we don't know that information. But apparently, the prenup said that, you know, she gets nothing if they divorce. Maybe, just maybe, that's why she chose to try and have him offed. I don't know. So, Aaron's already made the obvious move, like I've just explained here, so filing for divorce to Victoria just a couple of days after she was actually arrested, which comes as absolutely no surprise to anyone on the planet. Anyone with half a brain cell would be like, yeah, that bitch needs to be divorced. She should not be in your life anymore if she's trying to take you out. So yeah, she's pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit murder and part of a plea deal on April 15th. Now, she is eligible for a parole. She is due back in court, I think towards the start of May. She's back in court, which means that, you know, we'll find out then what's really going down with this, what's happening and all the rest of it. I'll be really intrigued to see, you know, what the sentence is. She's going to prison regardless, you know, whether it be for the 2 years, whether it be for the 10 years. I wouldn't be surprised if she just went split down the middle, got like 5 or 6 years, and then maybe got an opportunity to be let out on parole on good behavior. It's just the way that these things work, unfortunately. It is unfortunate as well, because it's just like, ugh, you know, like someone like this who's tried to have their partner murdered, right? Like, why is that even got an opportunity to be allowed to continue? Do you know what I mean? Like, why? She should get the maximum sentence, but it's just how lawyers work, and clearly she's got a good lawyer because, you know, they managed to wangle this for her. But I guess it's part and parcel of one of those things, I suppose. I don't know. Just disappointing. What do you guys think, though? Let me know your thoughts and opinions. Obviously, this all comes out as well around the same time as Ghost Adventures. So, you know, many people are stating that it might overshadow Ghost Adventures. It might add to Ghost Adventures. People are just waiting for Zach Baggins to add the narrative into the Ghost Adventures. I don't think he will, if I'm honest. If he had a heart or a soul, he wouldn't, because obviously Aaron is the second in command when it comes to Ghost Adventures, really. Maybe Billy, but I think Aaron is that guy. Like the chain of command will go Zach, Aaron, then probably Billy. One of the biggest things to come out this year so far in the paranormal community is nothing actually to do with the paranormal. It's to do with a superstar within the paranormal, and that is Ghost Adventures star Aaron Goodwin, whose wife had a plot unveiled where she attempted to hire a hitman to take Aaron Goodwin's life. And it was a whole saga. Now, obviously, there's been a lot of videos that I've made, so go and watch those if you want all of the details on everything thus far. Because, you know, the details are about as harrowing as the story itself. But yesterday, at the time of recording, Aaron Goodwin's wife, Victoria, was sentenced, right? And her sentencing was incredibly, well, justified, to say the very least. So Victoria Goodwin, who is now the estranged wife of Ghost Adventure star Aaron Goodwin, was actually sentenced on June 5th, 2025 to 36 to 90 months, which equates to 3 to 7.5 years in Nevada prison, with 92 days credited for her time already served, after pleading guilty to a conspiracy to commit murder. She was arrested in March of 2025 for allegedly plotting to hire a hitman to kill Aaron, coordinating with Florida inmate Grant Amato, whom she reportedly met through a true crime documentary. The plot involved sharing Aaron's filming schedule with location for Ghost Adventures, with negotiated payment of $11,515, including a $2,500 upfront payment. Victoria has pleaded guilty, and she did that back in April of 2025 as part of a plea deal, which led to the dismissal of the solicitation to commit murder charge. During the sentencing, she described as an emotional courtroom showdown. Victoria apologized directly to Aaron, expressing regret and stating that she will always hold love for him, promising that he would never be in danger from her again. Aaron, visibly emotional, told the court he would never feel safe again, describing this, the betrayal of discovering her affair and murder plot, which left him living with armed security. He filed for divorce almost days after the arrest, citing irreconcilable differences. I don't think that comes as a surprise to absolutely anyone. But what's even more crazy than this is, of course, the full 16-minute showdown in the courtroom, which we're going to take a look at today and, you know, maybe dissect part of the way through, because it is, like I say, it's pretty, you know, monumental, and it's very emotional.
Brown, Mr. Hammer, this is a date-time step for entry of judgment and imposition of sentence. Is there any legal cause or reason why judgment should not be pronounced again for sentencing?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
The court's reviewed the May 15th, 2025 pre-sentence investigation report, as well as the sentencing memorandum filed by the defendant on May 29th of 2025, as well as all of the letters that have been submitted. And it's the court's been saying this is no recommendation, except the state has been claiming the right to argue facts and circumstances.
Yes, Your Honor.
And is there going to be a victim speaker here?
There is Aaron Goodwin's here. He's just in the anteroom. He's coming in right now, so we're going to ask that he speak last pursuant to statute.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. You know, as I kind of spoke to opposing counsel, I even spoke to Aaron about it. One of the reasons.
Now, of course, this is just me looking from the outside in, okay? So I am going to be very cynical, you know, but I don't think that she's actually, you know, emotional within the scenes that we've seen just within that short minute clip just there. We are going to continue it, but I don't think she's emotional because of what she's done. I think she's emotional because she got caught, in my honest opinion. You know, she was, up until the point of her getting caught in March, she was posting images on social media like nothing had happened, saying how much she loved Aaron and all the rest of it, when actually, only a few months prior, she was attempting to get him whacked. So, yeah.
We're not making a recommendation as to sentencing is we kind of acknowledge that, look, this is someone who doesn't have a record, right? Who has never kind of done anything like this before. But the concern I've always had is when you look at the facts of the case, they are serious. This is not a situation where maybe an unhappy wife simply kind of made a fleeting text that said, oh, like, I can't stand my marriage, like, I wish he was just gone, or something along those lines. It was far more than that. The concerns that I have about the case are when Mr. Amato's phone is seized and they look into it, what you can see is on October 2nd of 2024, there is a text exchange between Ms. Goodwin and Mr. Amato, who is a convicted murderer out of Florida, where they are expressing their love for one another. She is acknowledging that her husband would never accept a divorce. She says things like, I'm so anxious, I just can't believe this is happening, like, what the F? How did I get to this point? Am I a bad person? And when Mr. Amato asks, well, why do you say that? And she's like, because I'm choosing to end his existence, not divorce. Those are very serious comments.
And you've got to think for Aaron as well, okay? This isn't just, you know, his ex-wife, now ex-wife, or soon-to-be ex-wife, attempting to take his life, there's also an emotional affair that's taken place prior to this that he also has to come to terms with. So there's a lot more than just, you know, him attempt. I mean, obviously, I don't mean that lightly. Like, it's not like, oh, you know, he was just attempted to be murdered. No, like, he's got the emotional affair side of it as well, that he has to, I guess, grieve his marriage, as well as, you know, to a degree, the woman that he thought he knew. It's really fucked up.
When you couple that with, on that same date, she is relaying information that Mr. Goodwin was in Barstow, staying at a Best Western, provided him pictures of what he looked like, the car that he was driving, and that there's discussions that Mr. Amato's buddy named Gordo is going to take care of the situation, the facts become more serious. And even from those text messages that talk about setting aside, you know, $11,000 for Gordo, and ultimately this investigation reveals about $60,000 is sent from Ms. Goodwin over to Mr. Amato, or associates of Mr. Amato. And I know the sentencing memo kind of talks about, well, maybe some of that was blackmail, but when you have the following day, you have Amato on that phone texting Gordo being like, hey, is it done yet? Has it been done? All of that's very serious. And the one thing I didn't see in that report was simply, at no point does Ms. Goodwin ever try to claw it back. At no point does she say something like, you know what, I was just kidding, I don't really want to go through, like, you don't ever see anything along those lines. And that really is ultimately the concern for the state about the seriousness of it. And so look, whatever you think is appropriate is certainly appropriate. I just think at the end of the day, we don't see these solicitations very often. Like, you know, I handle murders, we don't really get solicitation cases that often. But there's a lot of there. That's a lot of detail, a lot of locations, and a lot of money that I think elevates this to a certain level of consideration. Lastly, I'm just going to say, look, I'm not going to speak for Aaron. I think Aaron is going to share with you how this has really impacted him, and I don't think I can do that justice, but I will submit it to the discretion of the court.
I think as well, $60,000 is a lot of money to someone who is behind bars for a triple homicide. Bear in mind, he killed both his parents and his brother, right? Like, and that's Grant Amato, who is in the Florida prison. It's absolutely diabolical that much money has been sent. And, you know, again, like he just said there was no attempt to backtrack. She was fully committed to this idea, which again makes me believe that I don't think that she's truly sorry that she, you know, that it happened. I think she's just sorry that she got caught. That's just my opinion, though.
Your Honor, and I'd just like to comment briefly on the facts. I know he wrote a longer sentencing memo, and I appreciate your patience because I know you read it. With regards to the facts, there is, to me, a clear line where Ms. Goodwin had abandoned the conspiracy. We may disagree, and I don't know if what we do with the state, whereas who initiated the idea of, you know, the murder. But with Ms. Goodwin, it's clear that as of November, she had completely distanced herself from the group. She had moved on from it. There was very limited contact. She had nothing further to do. No efforts were made, and the phone exchange ends. I'd also comment, and I know we do in the sentencing memo, that neither Mr. Amato or Mr. Gordo, as we sit here, have ever been charged with a crime. So it's just Ms. Goodwin who sits here today, and as far as I know, there's no intention to ever file charges against either of those two individuals. I think it is clear that Ms. Goodwin, after the initial, payment, was being extorted. That she was threatened. There was a call to the police that was outlined in the sentencing memo, and that was the reason for the additional payments. It wasn't a continued, I want to keep paying more and more. We really got to make this happen. There was the initial payment, and after that, the circumstances had substantially changed. But as the state mentioned, and you look today, Ms. Goodwin is a person who prior to this had never been in any kind of trouble of any kind. She did what you would expect someone to do when they are arrested for something. She took full responsibility. As I think we're 92 days from the day she was arrested to the day we're before Your Honor, which on a case like that, I would submit is very fast, and that's because Ms. Goodwin said, I don't want to make this any tougher for Mr. Goodwin. I want to take responsibility. I know what I did was wrong. Again, as we sit here, you can see the back row. That's Ms. Goodwin's family, some friends as well. She's got tremendous family support. They love her. They would have gladly, this was not an unreasonable bail that could never be posted. She recognized that there should be some punishment element to this as well.
Did she take full accountability straight from the get-go, though? Because let's kind of wind the clocks back. When this first came out in March and she was first arrested and questioned about it, she claimed that the money wasn't being sent for a solicitation to murder. It was being sent for phones. For phones. Which, to me, doesn't scream that you're taking accountability. That screams that you're looking for an excuse for getting out of it. Now, yes, obviously now, she's probably been told by her lawyers, there is no way out of this. You're just going to have to go for a plea deal, which would mean that you're going to get the least sentencing because you're going to, you know, work with the courts, not against them, and draw this out, which means you'll get a quicker sentencing, which means that you'll probably get a lesser sentence as well. Should that be the case? No. At the same time, though, that's insane. I don't think, in my opinion, bear in mind, I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not, you know, someone to be taking legal advice from, but I don't think that she actually took full accountability from the jump. I think it wasn't until it was, you know, she realised how deep she was cooked, until she was like, yeah, actually, maybe I should probably take a step back here. Just my opinion.
She sat in custody for 92 days when the family would have gladly posted a bond to get her out of custody, but she wanted to come before the court and let everyone here know that she understands there are consequences for her action. We would submit that she's an excellent candidate for probation. Many of those reasons are outlined in the sentencing memo. She's not going to reoffend. She's never been in trouble before. She's going to move. She has no need to have further contact with Mr. Goodwin. They don't have children in common. She's going to move. If she is given the opportunity of probation, she would immediately try to transfer out of state, live with her family, continue with her education. We talked in the sentencing memo about her physical health. She has very serious health issues. She's not going to be able to get the proper treatment while she is in custody. It's very painful. She lives her whole life in pain. She has one of the most painful illnesses you can have. If Your Honor felt that she did need a little bit more, you know, we don't think 92 days has gotten her attention. She's never going to be in front of Your Honor for any kind of violation. She's never going to have any further problems. We, of course, would understand there would be stringent conditions. She has no contact with Mr. Goodman, and she has no need to ever have contact with them. We would just ask the court to give her one opportunity at probation for someone who's lived the life that she's lived, has one terrible mistake, but that's the only mistake she's made, and that she immediately tried to take full responsibility for it. Before she was arrested, she had clearly abandoned any efforts to be part of that conspiracy, and we think she's worthy of probation, and I'd like to have her say a few words as well.
This will be interesting.
Firstly, and most importantly, I would like to apologize to Aaron. I'm so immensely sorry for the pain and anxiety I've caused you, and the betrayal you undoubtedly and rightfully feel by my actions. I need you to know that I will always hold love for you. I genuinely pray you find your joy and peace again, and I will bow out of your life forever to hopefully ease that process. I'm sorry I broke us, and I am consumed with regret every day. My absolute promise to you is that you will never see or hear from me. I intend to leave the state of Nevada, and you and anyone else will never be in danger of me ever again. Secondly, I'd like to apologize to my parents. My actions are not a reflection of how you raised me, with unwavering love and support, and I know I'm better than this. Next, I'd like to apologize to the court. I recognize and understand my stupidity, the terrible nature of my crime against Aaron, my regrettable choices, and monumental lapse in judgment. This is my rock bottom, and I'll never forgive myself. Prior to my arrest, I was taking steps toward mending my marriage and correcting my mistakes that led me here. Now, having spent 92 days in jail, I've had plenty of time to reflect on my foolishness and I'm that much more committed to never getting in trouble again and doing better in every aspect of my life, especially with my mental health. I am truly ashamed, embarrassed, and disappointed with myself, and am deeply and sincerely remorseful for my actions. This is not a reflection of who I am, nor the person I want to be.
Yes.
So, I do, that did come across as sincere. I'm gonna give the benefit of the doubt on that one, right? Yeah, it's a tough one because it's like, obviously there is going to be some regret. I still stand by the fact that I think she's more apologetic that she got caught than she, because, she had ample opportunity, in my opinion, to come forward about it, even just to Aaron. But at the same time, what I don't understand is why. What was the motive to do this? Do you know what I mean? Like, at what point did this become more appealing? I know she said that Aaron wouldn't accept a divorce, but then there is an opportunity, through solicitors and or lawyers and hard pushing to actually push that through. And with the amount of effort that she put into hiring a hitman to take out her husband, if that had been refocused into trying to civilly end the marriage lawfully, the outcome could have been so much better, and she wouldn't be going to jail for up to 90 months, 7.5 years. It makes you wonder what kind of that's a serious thing to jump to. Do you know what I mean? And that's something that no one's really. That's not an answer that anyone's got thus far. Is why? Why did she do it? Why was that far more appealing than trying to push through a divorce instead? Begs the question.
State will call Aaron Goodwin.
Madam Clerk will swear you in.
You do solemnly swear or affirm, under the pains and penalties of perjury, the testimony you're about to give in this action will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yeah.
Can you please state and spell your first and last name for the record?
Aaron Goodwin, AARONGODWIN.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Goodwin.
Go for it, man. Go for it.
Sorry. Your Honor, for 7 years I thought I was in the most loving relationship and marriage with my best friend. Someone who I trusted whole heart and laughed with every day. Someone who made me feel like I was like I was her one and only. I was loyal to her and did whatever I could to make her happy. I thought we were something very special, and so did everyone else. After finding out she was cheating on me in September of last year with multiple men, including the man going by the name Vincent, who turned out to be Gran Amato, I gave her the option of divorce where we could try to work it out because I love her so much. She felt so bad, and I didn't want to lose me. Every day she made me feel more special, and she was so sorry. At least that's what she told me. Now discovering she put a hit out to kill me more than once. Got blackmailed and spent almost all our savings to keep it quiet. And fell more in love with Amato. They even got spiritually married. And now I was called the first husband. They talked until she was arrested. And she sought his help to kill me. Sorry. This has led me to fear my life. I've hired armed security for weeks, not knowing it was over or not. Always looking over my shoulder and having to go through therapy and even trying to understand any of it.
It's like a heartbreak no one should go through in life. I can't trust anything anymore. I cry every day. I feel so alone. She grew me into a person I never was. I will always wonder why. But worst of all, she lied to me every day. I didn't know about any of the murder plot, the hitman, or the blackmail until the detectives told me after she was arrested. Now behind bars, she's trying to manipulate through lawyers and trying to silence me and not come here today. So I wouldn't be standing here. So, in honor, Your Honor, this person over here, I don't know at all. Not one bit. The fact that this person did all this to me with no worry, no care, or love in her heart for me. I will never feel the same. I will never feel safe or be the same because of what she did. Especially when she gets out one day. She claims she's remorseful now that she's been caught, but there at no time before did she ever try to stop this from happening. She tried to have me killed. She gave my location to people. Truly believed we were trying. I truly believe with people she truly believed were going to harm me. She even asked for the updates on the murder. And this was all when I was just a loving husband. I thought, whether she got minimum or maximum time, I still won't feel safe whenever she's released. I feel like this deserves prison time. I don't know. So I just leave it in your hands, Your Honor. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
That's really fucking hard hitting. Like, that is really, really hard hitting. I don't even know this man, and I want to go and give him a hug. Like, and everything he said completely shits on her lawyer's defense, where she tried to distance herself. She wasn't in emotional entanglement with Grant Amato, when he's like, well, even after after she was arrested, they were still talking. They got spiritually married. I was referred to as the first husband. Any sympathy I had for Victoria Goodwin up until this point is completely gone. And the fact that she tried to manipulate Aaron via her lawyers whilst behind bars shows that she has zero remorse at all for her actions. She's still trying to silence it. She's still trying to squash it. And she's still trying to get him to not put her away for as long as possible. What the actual fuck? She's a dangerous person. She's so fucking dangerous. And even watching her there, when the camera panned over to her, when he was reading that testimony, he's bawling his eyes out, pouring his heart out, wearing his heart on his sleeve. And it's just crocodile tears. Not a single tear dropped down her face. She doesn't, in my opinion, reading that, she doesn't fucking care. She does not care an ounce. Man.
By virtue of your plea of guilty on April 22nd of 2025, in accordance with the laws of the state of Nevada, you're hereby judged guilty of the offense conspiracy to commit murder, category Bravo felony. In addition to the $25 administrative assessment fee, $150 DNA testing fee to include testing for genetic markers, and $3 administrative assessment fee, the court does now sentence you to a minimum term of 36 months and a maximum term of 90 months in the Nevada Department of Corrections. What is the correct term, sir?
92 days, Your Honor.
92 days correct term, sir. Thank you. And all the named counsel judges. Have a great day.
Thank you.
32 months, was it? Minimum? It's not enough.
3 years, that is. 32 months, roughly. 24, 36, about 36 months. Just going to say it straight off the bat. No. Ghost Adventures is not cursed. Aaron Goodwin is not cursed. Zach Bagans is not cursed. Post Malone is not cursed. Haunted Museum is not cursed. Nobody is cursed by interacting with Ghost Adventures, right? This is something I had no intention after the last video with Aaron Goodwin to touch this topic anymore. It's said, it's done. The guy's clearly grieving not only his marriage, but the fact that his wife tried to have him assassinated. The fact that his wife, now soon to be ex-wife, had an emotional affair, even got quote unquote spiritually married, which I believe is quite a Mormon thing to do. You know, he's going through a hell of a lot. And it's, you know, the video I made last was to kind of cover the sentencing, how I thought it was quite unjust considering everything that had gone on, and to show the sheer devastation that Aaron Goodwin was clearly going through. And I was going to leave it there and that was it. But over the past 24 hours, my inbox has been blowing up with this one video that's kind of been going a little bit viral over on TikTok, where this girl's kind of, you know, sort of claiming that a lot of things are going on off the back of Ghost Adventures being cursed to a degree. At least that's how people have taken it. And the amount of people that have sent it to me is kind of, if it was just one or two, I would have let it slide. But the amount of people that send it to me, people clearly believe that what's happened with Aaron isn't because of his wife's actions, or, you know, not his wife's actions, but, you know, like his wife's whatever, right? And they think that it's because Aaron's cursed because of the show. And I think that that is truly so insensitive to the true topic and the true nature of what's actually gone on, that I think the record should be set straight a little bit. And if I'm in a position to do so, then great. But this is the video, and this is no hate to the person in question, right? She's just going off of what she's saying. I'm going to try and avoid sharing her URL so that we can't, you know, I don't want people going over, giving shit to this person, you know, because they don't deserve it. They're just saying what they feel, what they, you know, how they're going. I think based off their page, they claim to be a psychic of some capacity, but here's the video.
Hold the phone. We need to talk about Ghost Adventures, this new episode. I don't know if it's come out yet, but remember how Aaron's wife tried to hire a hitman and everyone was like, oh, well, she's crazy. And I was like, well, hey, maybe she's like possessed or something's going on. I just heard in the new episode, the bassist of Weezer and his wife are gonna be in the new episode, but she literally just had an issue with the police where, like, she got shot by the police, and, like, I still haven't seen any information on that. So where are they investigating that people are, like, getting shot? Like, there's so much bad luck surrounding this. Like, there is some type of paranormal component. I don't care. I want to hear what you guys think.
Now, I'm going to share what I think, okay? And this is no hate to the creator. This is no hate to the people that believe the creator, all right? At all. This is just me kind of stating how I feel about it. And I think a lot of people probably will share the sentiment that I've got. And once I've said this, I want to put Aaron Goodwin to bed. Wait, no, I don't want to put... I want to put the Aaron Goodwin situation to bed. So, no, I do not think for a second that this is down to bad luck. I do not think that this is down to the show being cursed. You take a look in the comments section of this video, right? And it is literally people talking about how they believe that Zach Bagans has taken things too far, especially Zach. You know, Bulletproof Vest, they talk about how there's prayers and stuff like this that go on. And, you know, there's the Post Malone episode where there was stuff that went on after the Post Malone episode that happened to Post Malone himself. Zach always putting Aaron in bad situations, especially, like, you know, he went through a divorce after Bobby Mackey's. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say, yeah, I wholeheartedly believe that Zach Bagans and the Ghost Adventures crew are, you know, cursed from the show. I think that's a cool narrative that they would love to run with because, you know, ultimately, like, that brings intrigue and that brings excitement to the show. Do I believe that? Absolutely not. I think that is a load of BS. And if anyone tries to tell me otherwise, I'm sorry, but I just will not believe you. And when you look at the court footage and the testimony that was delivered by Aaron in the courtroom, and if you look at Victoria's face, right, who is his now estranged wife, there is zero remorse on this woman. She does not care, right? In my honest opinion, I don't feel like she's apologetic to the situation. I think she's apologetic that she got caught. She was in a spiritual marriage with this Grant Amato, right, who is a triple homicide killer. You know, he killed his brother, mother, and father, and now he's serving time in Florida prison for it. You know, she had a spiritual relationship with this guy, apparently. She got married to him spiritually. Aaron was referred to as the first husband. It's fucking weird, man. Like, look at this. And listen, after listening to this, please tell me if you truly still believe that this man was just cursed. It was just such bad luck that he fell on.
Your Honor, for 7 years I thought I was in the most loving relationship and marriage with my best friend. Someone who I trusted whole heart and laughed with every day. Someone who made me feel like I was like I was her one and only. I was loyal to her and did whatever I could to make her happy. I thought we were something very special, and so did everyone else. After finding out she was cheating on me in September of last year with multiple men, including the man going by the name Vincent, who turned out to be Grant Amato, I gave her the option of divorce where we could try to work it out because I love her so much. She felt so bad, and I didn't want to lose me. Every day she made me feel more special, and she was so sorry. At least that's what she told me. Now discovering she put a hit out to kill me more than once. Got blackmailed and spent almost all our savings to keep it quiet. And fell more in love with Amato. They even got spiritually married. And now I was called the first husband. They talked until she was arrested. And she sought his help to kill me. Sorry. This has led me to fear my life. I've hired armed security for weeks, not knowing it was over or not. Always looking over my shoulder and having to go through therapy and even trying to understand any of it. It's like a heartbreak no one should go through in life. I can't trust anything anymore. I cry every day. I feel so alone. She grew me into a person I never was. I will always wonder why. But worst of all, she lied to me every day. I didn't know about any of the murder plot, the hitman, or the blackmail until the detectives told me after she was arrested. Now behind bars, she's trying to manipulate through lawyers and trying to silence me and not come here today. So I wouldn't be standing here. In honor, Your Honor, this person over here, I don't know at all. Not one bit. The fact that this person did all this to me with no worry, no care, or love in her heart for me. I will never feel the same. I will never feel safe or be the same because of what she did. Especially when she gets out one day. She claims she's remorseful now that she's been caught. But there at no time before did she ever try to stop this from happening. She tried to have me killed. She gave my location to people. Truly believed we were trying. I truly believe with people she truly believed were going to harm me. She even asked for the updates on the murder. And this was all when I was just her loving husband, I thought. Whether she got minimum or maximum time, I still won't feel safe whenever she's released. I feel like this deserves prison time. I don't know. So just leave it in your hands, Your Honor. Thank you.
Now, that gets me every time, right? Every single time. And if anyone can still sit there, in my honest opinion, and say that's just down to bad luck, that's just, you know, a man who's been cursed by a show from chasing demons for X amount of years. No. I'm sorry, but no. I'm not. You can't put this down to just bad luck. This is a man who is clearly grieving his relationship, his wife, his life. Ultimately, he's got to redo everything. And I think it completely undermines the true nature of what's gone on here to claim even that his wife is possessed. You know, like, that, to me, completely undoes the nature of what she did, because then there's no accountability there. It's, oh, I did that because I was possessed, you know, it's not my fault, it was the demon's fault, I don't know, you know. But actually, no, that's bollocks. Like, I can't say that for certain, but in my opinion, that's bollocks. Like, it completely undermines the true nature and the heinousness of the crimes that she committed. She tried to have her husband murdered. She emotionally had an affair with on her husband. She had an affair to a degree. Yes, it may not have been physical, but, you know, she got married spiritually to this guy whilst he was in prison and was talking to him up until she got caught. Like, no. Fuck it, no.
Aaron Goodwin's now estranged wife, Victoria Goodwin, who put out a murder for hire plot against him, believes that the two can reconcile, even though she literally hired a hitman to take his life. I kid you not, this is the story that is coming out right this second. So obviously you may remember a few months ago, the story in the news broke that Aaron Goodwin, a Ghost Adventures star alongside Zach Bagans and Billy Toyley and all the rest of it, had his life threatened due to a hitman trying to take his life, who turned out to be hired by his wife at the time, Victoria Goodwin, who put the plot together with the emotional affair that she was having with Grant Amato, who is in a California or LA prison. I can't remember which one it was, or Florida, one of the three, I can't remember. And they were having like this emotional affair, and they have been having this, or had been having this emotional affair ever since Victoria had seen Grant Amato on a true crime documentary. Now, Grant Amato had been arrested and sentenced for a triple homicide after he killed his brother, his mother, and his father, right? And Victoria saw this and thought, that's the kind of man that I need in my life. And together, they came up with a plot to try and take Aaron Goodwin's life. Now, I'm sure you're very well aware of the whole situation. I've gone into a lot of depth over on previous videos on this, so get yourself caught up over there. But ever since, right, obviously it went to trial and stuff. Victoria was found guilty of the murder to hire plot, and she got sentenced to between 3 and 7 years in prison. So 7 years was the maximum of the sentence. 3 years, I believe, was if she might get let out on good behaviour kind of thing. It's despicable, in my honest opinion, that it is that little of a sentence. I've seen people go away for longer for less, but here we are. That is the world that we live in. But it has been stated that Aaron Goodwin's ex believes that they can reconcile after the murder for hire plot sentencing. This was an exclusive from Us Weekly, right? And this is the headline that they've run with. So obviously there's Aaron, there's Victoria. Now, Ghost Adventure star Aaron Goodwin's estranged wife Victoria Goodwin is hopeful that they can get back together only months after she was sentenced in a murder for hire plot to kill him. Us Weekly can exclusively report. I know she's batshit fucking crazy, but that is mental. On August 1st, Victoria, who is aged 32, who is currently serving 3 to 7 years in a Nevada state prison, responded to Aaron's petition for divorce. So obviously after it all kicked off and, you know, she got sentenced, he filed for divorce. Obviously, because she's just tried to have you killed. In his petition, which was filed earlier this year, Aaron stated that tastes, likes and dislikes of husband and wife have become incompatible to the extent that it has become impossible for them to live together as husband and wife in a marital harmony. There is no possibility of reconciliation between the husband and wife. That's what he stated within his thingamajig, right? In his divorce papers. Victoria's response, which was filed on August 1st, reads, while Victoria admits said paragraph, she believes the parties can reconcile. Victoria isn't trying to stop the divorce, however, she laid out her asks in the docs, including a counterclaim demanding Aaron, 49, pay her a monthly alimony, return personal property allegedly in his possession, and pay her legal fees. In addition, Victoria also requested that she keep her married last name, which is Goodwin. What the We'll get into this in just a moment. The exes wed on May 4th of 2020. Victoria was taken into custody in March. She was accused of communicating with Florida inmate named Grant Amato about hiring a third party to kill Aaron. TMZ reported that Amato was sentenced for life after killing his father, mother and brother inside their home. Prosecutors obtained the, this is the whole detail. We know about this, right? I've gone into depth. But she pled guilty to it. She's been done for it. And in an amended petition, Aaron demanded punitive damages against Victoria. He accused her of negligence, assault, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. Victoria's conduct was extreme and outrageous, with either the intention of or reckless disregard for causing emotional distress to Aaron, his petition read. Obviously, that was him in court. Victoria acted intending to confine Aaron within boundaries fixed by Victoria. Victoria acted directly or resulted in such a confinement of Aaron, and Aaron was conscious of the confinement and was harmed by it, Aaron's lawyers wrote to explain false imprisonment allegations. So it goes even deeper than that, obviously. Now there's false imprisonment allegations, right? Now, this is actually mental. So she's basically in the counterclaim being like, I see your divorce claim. I see your claim for $10,000 in damages. But what I want from you, Aaron, because obviously, I deserve to get something from you, is I want... This is mental. I would like to sue you. I want all of my stuff back, and I want you to pay me every month. And I'm also going to keep the last name because obviously that brings me clout when I get back on the outside. That is mental. Now, I'm just going to take you through the moment that Aaron Goodwin read his plea in court, just so you can see how affected this man truly was by this woman's actions. And you tell me if she deserves what she's requesting from Aaron, and if there's any kind of form of reconcile on the horizon.
I've been married with my best friend, someone who I trusted whole heart and laughed with every day, someone who made me feel like I was settled, like I was her one and only. I was loyal to her and did whatever I could to make her happy. I thought we were something very special, and so did everyone else. After finding out she was cheating on me in September of last year with multiple men, including the man going by the name Vincent, who turned out to be Grant Amato, I gave her the option of divorce where we could try to work it out because I loved her so much. She felt so bad, and I didn't want to lose me. Every day she made me feel more special, and she was so sorry. At least that's what she told me.
This man is literally breaking his heart because he's not just mourning the fact that his wife is going, or now ex-wife is going to prison. He's mourning the end of his marriage. He's mourning the fact that she cheated with multiple men. He's mourning the fact that she tried to have him killed. And she thinks that there's an opportunity for reconcile. Now, I am not Aaron Goodwin. Right? And I would never, it's not my place to ever give any advice to anyone on any kind of relationship. But I can't imagine a world where Aaron would just be like, do you know what, Victoria? I hear you. let's reconcile when you get out after 7 years for trying to have me murdered. Let's get back together. Let's make this work out. No, that's fucking tapped. The Aaron Goodwin situation just developed from crazy to finally seeming that there was some kind of resolve to suddenly alluding to some kind of craziness once again. Now, if you don't know about this situation thus far, of course, Aaron Goodwin from the hit TV show Ghost Adventures recently had his, now ex-wife, try and put out a murder for hire plot against him. If somehow you've missed this entire saga, I'm going to give you a brief timeline of events to get you up to speed, and then I'm going to talk to you about what's developed thus far. So, let's start with August 2022. Aaron Goodwin, the star of Ghost Adventures, marries Victoria Goodwin at Disneyland in California after postponing their original 2020 wedding date. 2024, now the exact month is unspecified. Victoria begins contacting Florida inmate Grant Amato, serving life for murdering his family via text and Facebook. Inspired by a Paramount Plus docuseries about him, she alleges discussing hiring a hitman to kill Aaron, sharing his Ghost Adventures filming schedule targeting an October 2024 shoot at Barstow, California, and sets aside $11,515 for the job, including a $2,500 upfront payment. And Amato plans to distract Aaron with a phone call during the alleged hit. Then, in October of 2024, corrections officers seize Amato's contraband phone, uncovering the plot through Victoria's messages. For example, am I a bad person because I chose to end his existence, not divorce? That was actually one of the text messages that Victoria sent Grant. Then, on March 6th of 2025, Victoria is actually arrested in Las Vegas by the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police on felony charges of solicitation to commit murder and conspiracy to commit murder. She initially denies both of the allegations, claiming that it was a quote-unquote fantasy and is held on a $100,000 bail. Then, on March 12th of 2025, Aaron files for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences and stating that he felt, quote, blindsided and devastated, believing their nearly 3-year marriage was happy. Then on March 25th of 2025, Victoria's preliminary hearing is held and the outcome is not detailed in current reports. April 2025, Victoria pleads guilty to conspiracy to commit murder as part of a plea deal. Then on June 5th of 2025, Victoria is actually sentenced to 36 to 90 months, which is around 3 to 7.5 years in Nevada prison. During the hearing, Aaron delivers an emotional impact message statement about his fear and isolation. Victoria apologizes, claiming that she still loves him, and abandoned the plot by November of 2024. By October 22nd, a Ghost Adventures episode has just aired, showing the real footage of Aaron receiving the police call about Victoria's arrest during the filming lockdown. Aaron shares on Instagram that it's been the worst year, and he won't watch the episode to avoid reliving the trauma. So that's a brief kind of oversight of everything that happened up until this point. Now, obviously, we're at the point now where the episode has aired in the latest season of Ghost Adventures. It was kind of used as marketing, which was, some people will say a bit shady. I mean, obviously it would have run by Aaron first. He probably would have been okay for it to be shared, but he posted this on Twitter at the time, on the day that it was going to be shared, and he put, "The next episode of Ghost Adventures is where I got the FaceTime call from the cops. They were in my house and told me that she did what she did, and she was arrested. I won't be watching the episode because I don't want to relive that night again and what happened before the call. This lockdown is insane and disturbing with what happened during our investigation." And then, obviously, the episode aired. And Aaron shared some details on public social media as well, kind of stating that he's learnt some new things over on his Instagram stories, stating that he's learnt some new details that are even more disturbing than he originally thought. He didn't go into much detail. We don't know much more about that. That's just what he shared. Now, this next segment may or may not make it into the video. I'm going to try and fight the copyright. I've had to re-record this video because I got the copyright greenlit, then I got the copyright taken down and the video got taken down, and then I'm reshooting it in the hopes that I can get it greenlit again. If it doesn't get greenlit, this part won't be in the episode, but you'll be able to go and watch that Ghost Adventures episode. This is the moment that Aaron Goodwin got the phone call, and it is via TMZ. Absolutely insane, right? And obviously,
this is kind of going full circle now, because then this leads into the whole investigation taking place. But like I say, Aaron has shared some more details online. He's also publicly, you know, put out some bits and pieces, and articles have shared their, you know, points. So Aaron Goodwin obviously struggling emotionally and admitting that he's not doing well at all in this article amid ongoing divorce proceedings stemming from the estranged wife Victoria Goodwin's alleged murder for hire plot against him. Obviously, I don't think this comes as much of a surprise to anybody that he's going through a bit of a tough spot, because, of course, it's difficult. It is a really difficult thing that he's having to go through. Now, he did put out after this obviously all aired, I can imagine the press probably got involved with him very quickly, sent him messages, tried to get interviews from him and all the rest of it. And he posted this over on his Instagram, and it was just "to the press" on a black background. As you can see here, it came from Aaron Goodwin's official Instagram page. And it says, "To the press out there messaging me, thank you all for reaching out and being awesome, but unfortunately I can't talk about anything yet. It could tell you guys that I'm not doing... I could tell you guys, sorry, that I'm doing okay, but I'd rather be honest. I just know I'm not good at all, and every day is worse with all I'm learning all the time. They say in time everything gets better, but I just want the divorce to be over so I can move on with my life. Honestly, I probably couldn't make it through the interview without being in tears, and I'm just not ready yet. This has been the worst year of my life." Of course, that's a really difficult message, obviously, that he's had to put out there to the press, and it would seem like the press has respected it, as I mean, he's not gone on any episodes or any news outlets to talk about it directly, at least not that I've seen. But of course, you know, what a difficult time for the guy to have to go through. You know, he's not, I've said it countless times, but he's not just lost, you know, the prospect of his life. He's lost his wife. He's lost his, you know, way of life. He's lost his normal, you know, and his safe, what he thought was his safe person. And what's even more messed up is, obviously, this plot took place on October 2024, and by February of 2025, on Valentine's Day, Victoria Goodwin was posting images on social media of them all cuddled up and how much she loves him, when towards about 6 months earlier, she was getting him whacked. You know, this is, I mean, I don't know how anyone can possibly look at that and be like, oh yeah, that's sane. And I mean, I doubt Aaron watches my channel, my content at all, and I feel horrible for saying that, considering, you know, he probably still has a little bit of love for her. So, you know, that is a harsh thing to say, but, you know, she's also claiming that there's opportunities for reconcile. I can't imagine that there really is. I mean, I don't know, I'm not Aaron, and I would never speak on his behalf or anyone's behalf, but, you know, it's seeing how emotional he was in the courtroom. I think what's done is done.
Fair play to you if you made it to the end, by the way. Congratulations. Thank you so much for hanging around. And what do you guys think about this entire saga? Absolutely mental, right? If you have made it to the end, drop a ghost emoji down in the comments, so then I know that you've made it to the very end. Be sure to drop a like on the video if you have enjoyed it as well. Subscribe to be kept up to date with absolutely everything. And until next time, I'll speak to you later. Peace.